walimu wanaendelea ku affect you actually. They are being affected by coronavirus. We are losing a lot of teachers in school. And jana niliona kuna shule ambayo ilipoteza headmistress. Amunga, najua ni mwalimu, unajua mambo ambayo yanaendelea pale kwa Sara.
Yes, my condolences. Kwanza, good morning Lucia, good morning all of you.
Good morning.
Yeah,
hebu jieleze kwanza wewe ni nani?
Mimi naitwa Amunga, I'm a teacher.
Kuna watu wamesema ulikuwa uliwafunza Kiswahili.
Yes,
so ni kama leo tutaongea Kiswahili ustadi.
Na wale nilichapa viboko naona wanaandika hapo mama tusi, lakini I've been a teacher for almost 25 years. I taught at Kakamega High School. I was one of the drama teachers with Oliver Minish, the guy who I'm a founder of a drama club in Kakamega High.
Interesting.
I'm talking many years ago. I'm an old man. I'm talking 93, 95.
Haya. Na unakaa kama ndio umeingia 26. Hata ulikuwa bado kwa magoti.
Yes. Then from there came my wife was teaching at Kipsigis Girls, and then me and Oliver were two big drama kings in Kakamega High, so I had to go to Kipsigis Girls in Kericho. We brought Kipsigis Girls on the map. Actually, right now, Kipo, we call it Kipe. Kipe is one of the schools that is now a national school. And mainly because of drama, we wrote some very good plays when we were at Kipsigis.
Amazing.
And that's where I met my friend Wilson Sosion, the NAT secretary, because he was now at Tenwek High, and he was also a drama teacher. So we would really compete in drama, the two of us. We were one of the best in Rift Valley. And then from there, I went to Chemelila Academy. That's why I taught guys like Willis Raburu.
Na kuna jamaa anaitwa Leonard Sirma. I work with him.
Kina Sirma, those guys.
I worked with him in Buzeki.
Yes.
He still works there. He's an IT guy.
He was an IT guy. Yeah, ni jamaa nimefundisha. Kwanza, hapo Chemeli is where I taught a lot of guys. Many young guys and who are in media. They're everywhere. I see them everywhere. Greetings to all of you guys who are listening. And then from there, I went to Kisumu Day. Kisumu Day now in Kisumu in town. I was there for 13 years. You can
13
imagine.
years?
Yes.
So how do you manage to look this fresh bana all these years? Sisi wenyewe tumeshazeeka tayari.
Nikukula vizuri.
Nikukula kwa nini bana mrenda?
Ni mrenda, nakula, sipendi nyama, nakula tu mrenda.
Nyama lazima tukule bwana.
Unajua
Anduweze kuna shida mara mbili.
My maternal grandfather used to say that all the time.
Yeah.
And he used to eat his murenda boiled.
Yeah.
Aukaangi.
Yeah, aukaangi hivyo tu.
And he lived up to 102 years.
Yes. Call it lipoka.
And died with all his 32 teeth intact.
Oh, very true. Yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
So you'll need to get some secrets from me.
Yeah.
Tutakaaje. Sasa mimi nikulizanga mtu unakani miaka ngapi anasema kuna 53.
So that's how I've been, and then from there I came to a school here in At River. Now my friend Sosion was the secretary at NAT, and he just wanted to have also his friends near him to help and guide. And I got a secondment from Teacher Service Commission now to come and work at the NAT headquarters as a communications officer, liaison. So I've been there at NAT headquarters now for the last 3-4 years. NAT is not doing very well. There have been a lot of problems there, and we will not talk about them today. So again, also we've been moving on. Now we've formed something called Kenya Women Teachers Association. It's a powerful movement of Kenya women. Most like in Nairobi, if you, Juliana, I don't know, we have around 10,000 teachers in Nairobi, and 9,500 are female.
Oh, wow.
Nairobi County.
How many teachers? 10,000?
Yes. So, I'm telling you.
10,000?
Yes.
Out of 10,000, only 500 are men.
Only 500 are men.
Wow. Look,
we need affirmative action. We need affirmative action. We need affirmative action.
So actually, whenever I hear about gender and what I normally wonder about Nairobi and teaching, many schools you go in Nairobi, primary schools, even high schools, most of them, the teachers are female. You will rarely get a male. Wow. So when I came from Kisumu to a school here in Nairobi, I was the only male teacher. Students used to wonder, huyu mwanaume ni mwalimu? So these things happen. And
Kitabu ndio alikuwa anasema huyu mwanamke ni mwalimu.
Yes.
Na siku hizi huyu mwanaume ni mwalimu.
The tables are turning.
Yes. So those are some of the challenges I've seen in teaching. But in Nairobi, mainly because, wives, let me just say wives of our officers, big people, politicians, they like to teach near their husbands, their hubbies, so most of them get transfers from up-country schools, and Nairobi is a preserve for female teachers who are married to men and men
Of influence.
men of influence in this city.
The big women pursue.
So to get a transfer to Nairobi is
It's
almost
not easy.
It's like to get a transfer from hell to heaven.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey, so your career has spanned how many years?
This is now 25 years.
25 years.
Yeah. And then my wife also has been a teacher. She taught with me at Chemil Academy, taught with me at Kipsigis Girls. Now she's at Riara High School here in Nairobi.
So go back to the big man with Bazoo, let her bibi karibu
Ameleta bibi karibu na yeye.
Leta bibi Nairobi. Hata 25 years umekuwa ukifanya kazi, hata Lucia hajafikisha sitaki kuzaliwa. That is a bad news.
Gerald anachoma. I'm over 25.
Akina Lucia ako 22.
Niko karibu kufika third floor.
Sinema hiyo. So what is happening in schools?
Yeah, right now schools have reopened. But because schools have reopened, we and especially me and a few others who are doing a lot of analysis on education matters, we were not very comfortable when they reopened schools so quickly. We thought we needed more preparation. The 6 months, 7 months that we were home after COVID was declared a pandemic and schools closed, we expected the government to do a lot of preparation. We expected more funding to reach schools so that we can be able to meet the protocols that go with it. Talk about social distancing. We thought that these things will happen, and we were prepared. And when a task force was formed by the Ministry of Education, and they were doing a lot of meetings planning on how they'll reopen schools, our expectations were that they will come up with proper structures, proper ways of funding. They look for ways to help schools to maneuver through this pandemic. But unfortunately, one morning we just woke up and the minister just announced schools will start partial reopening. And he gave us, was it 4 days to reopen schools? And we just found ourselves, schools are opening and we are back in school. And so, Bitok and Lucia, what has happened is that we as teachers found ourselves between a hard place and a rock, because we had been at home for 7 months. Labor laws are that you cannot stay away from your place of work for that kind of period without working, without reporting, without signing anywhere that you are on duty. So it was interesting that we couldn't continue staying home. We understand that. And TSC had looked for a way for teachers to go back to school. So you remember, for 1 week, or was it 2 weeks, teachers remained in schools alone without learners. The main reason was that at least they can sign in. They can do some stock taking. Walimu wako hai ama walikufa. So that stock taking was important, because you can be paying ghost workers.
Yeah.
For 7 months, teachers not being in class, know where they're writing, they're signing in. It was going to be a bit interesting. So what happened is that, yes, we reported back. But now, when learners started coming in, grade 4, then standard 8, and then from 4th for high school and in high school. Now what happened is that we discovered that the protocols were not there. The masks we had been told about, they were not given to these people. The parents, most of our parents, and it's unfortunate, are not, and 90% of Kenyan parents believe that we teachers are the parents. We are like the maids, the people who take care of their children. So they do very little. So children came to us when they were not prepared at all. Children just came. And when they arrived at school, they found us there, and they have been wamekuwa kitusambazia virusi. There's something they call symptomatic. Symptomatic. Yes. So sisi tunapata virusi, na because some of us are aged, vile nimewaambia sisi ni wazee, na unapata ya kwamba we get them. So teachers are dying. Yesterday, Kahi Indimuli, the chairman of Kenya Heads Association, he's a principal at Machakos High, and he and I taught at Chavakali High School. And Kai said something very interesting. He said 19 principals have so far died of COVID-19 since the schools reopened. That is around
19. 19.
Yes, that's the chairman reporting. Now, unfortunately, in fact, today on my blog, I've just told teachers that as Kahi was announcing that, the only records that we have officially, people who have come out officially and said we have died of, families to say that our colleague has died of COVID, are only 3. In fact, there are 2. That is the Tononoka High School principal Mr. Wahazir. Then there's a principal in Homa Bay also who died much earlier. And now this one was died in Migori yesterday. At least there have been a lot of information that, she was COVID. But the rest are dying and nobody is saying about it. There is some kind of stigmatization. Teachers are worried that if I say I'm sick, I will do what? I may lose my job. Or my students will run away from me. Or parents. Or even the school. The school itself tells you, hata kama wewe ni mgonjwa usiseme. Enda ujifiche huko nyumbani, usiambie watu, because watoto wataanza kuwa na panic. Ministry of Education Magoha atakuja hapa mbio aanze kutuambia maneno mingi. Sasa just enda nyumbani, enda. So teachers are stigmatized. There's a lot of stigma going on and we are dying. That is the truth I can tell. Those are principals, by the way, 19. I have not talked about teachers, classroom teachers who have died. Actually, my records from NAT and Kenya Women Teachers Association, we are putting our records at 64. 64 of these
64
yes
teachers who have
in
died
the last few days that have died. But people don't talk about it. Siri, because wazazi watapanic, watu watatoa watoto kwa mashule. There was a text I was sent from a person.
You're saying we've lost 64 teachers?
I'm saying 64 teachers have died.
Are you sure what are you talking about?
I'm very sure. I'm talking on a broadcast that listen to people across the world. 64. If Kahindi Muri said principals
in
are Kenya,
64 teachers have died.
They have already died.
Since reopening?
Yes.
Since reopening.
Okay.
And Kahindi Muri says 19. Now, you see, he was saying that on Citizen TV last night. So, you can even do your own mathematics. Now, principals are fewer. In a school of like Alliance High School, there's one principal. There are around 3,000 learners. I mean, the staff is around 70, 80. Mm-hmm. So, if you do those ratios, you can now see your statistics. My teacher used to say that statistics are very important. Guys, Kenyans, walimu wanakufa. Na mimi niko kwa mitandao. I run a Facebook page called Teachers Notice Board. My followers are 500,000. I have another one called Teachers Welfare in Kenya. The followers are 300,000 followers. Those are teachers. I get reports from Kenya anytime I want, because anything happening to a teacher, they post on my forums. That's why I'm among the guys most listened to and heard because of this social media and whatever. So I'm saying I have my data. Teachers have died. And I can start naming names. I can talk about Ruben Chesire, a teacher died. I can talk about a teacher in Lugari, 2 teachers have died. In Kakamega, we have had 3 teachers. Shivakala, Sijuwea, we have 3 teachers who have died. So when you hear a student has died in Elureko, in Mumias, people think it's just that one student. Because it's not. It's not.
There are other people who are affected as well. The teachers,
there are children,
and even the support
there are
staff.
learners, there are support staff, there are cleaners, there are people, drivers. Wale wana drive hizi magari unaonanga watoto wakiwa kwa gari wanaenda nao. People have died.
And these people have families. At the end of the day, they go back home. My question is, are we contact tracing? Are we putting any measures in place? Because the whole stigmatization and hiding of the thing is making the situation worse. Because now if a teacher dies and we keep it hush-hush, we've not contact traced, we've not isolated everyone who came into contact with that said teacher, So we are just passing on the virus to our kids and they're bringing it back home and we are bringing it to work and we're passing it on to our colleagues.
Lucia, you've said it. You see, when I started seeing the statistics go up and Mutaika will start announcing more people. People thought it is bars that people are getting this thing from bars. I don't know, they are getting these things when schools reopened. That is the day we reopened the virus more. So these children will play, they'll do what? They'll pick something from school, take home. A parent who is old and has other underlying conditions, amepatikana. A teacher a driver who is driving a school bus from wherever to wherever, anakaa na watoto kwa jam, akienda, wanafika mahali, unapata huyo driver amepata, akirudi nyumbani, ana spread kwa kijiji, wapi. At the end of the day, this thing now is not just community based. It is now, I think even the word community is even smaller. It is wider. Many people are going to get affected. And as schools reopen on 4th, that's when we started the 3rd wave of this virus. In the 2nd wave when we reopened the first phase. reopening, the full reopening, which will be in January 4th, I can come to this studio after around a week or two and give you now statistics proper. I can assure you.
So let me ask you, Amunga.
Yeah.
Who was consulted when they were planning to open up the schools?
Yes, we were consulted as stakeholders in terms of, let me say, NAT was there, KUPPET was there, Kenya Women Teachers Association was there, Kenya Heads Association of Kahindimuli was there, Teacher Service Commission was there, Education Ministry, of course, was there, Parents Association. There's an amorphous thing called Parents, and my friend is called what? This guy from Eldoret, Mayo. Mm-hmm. Mayo, I normally meet him in the studio. The other day we were with him on BBC and I was telling Mayo, ujue, hakuna mzazi alikuelect. Mimi ni mzazi na sikujui. So anyway, we have the Parents Association.
Which is led by Mayo.
Mayo, Nicholas Mayo anakuanga kwa Eldoret. Anasijua anatusikia. Now what happened is this. All these stakeholders were consulted. But you see, in Kenya, consultation is normally, I have sat in many meetings at KICD. I used to escort my friend Sosion to all those meetings in KICD when consultations are going on, like even the CBC. Most times when you go to KICD, and I'm saying the truth, and I have records and I have everything, this thing they call consultation is normally one way. Kuna mtu anakuja nakaa pale kwa balcony, hapo juu kwa front. Anatusomea reports, what he thinks and the data he has. Tuambia tumepata hivi, WHO imesema watoto are safer in school. Sijui fulani amesema it is better we take kids back to school. Sijui fulani World Bank wamesema pesa ile walitupatia ya mashule itapotea kama itarudishwa tusipofungua mashule.
So lazima urudishwe watoto shule.
Yeah. So
tukule pesa ya World Bank.
Kila mtu anasema sasa we have to reopen. Now, you know there's no consultation. Wale wako hapo tunaambiwa bwana, we have to reopen schools because World Bank watarudisha pesa. Sijui nani IMF wametuambia sijui tufanye nini. World Health Organization wamefanya. A country like Kenya is not run just, you know, some people think that Kenya is just run from just State House. A country like Kenya is also run by other interested donors and other interested parties that we may not even know. There are people playing around with us. Julius Nyerere in his writings, he said that Africa is like a ping pong. After we got independence, we are played. China has interests, Israel has interests, USA has interests. If it's Joe Biden or it will be Trump, whoever comes has his own interest. So these interests come to play when we go for those consultation meetings at KICD. We start being told, hey guys, schools have to be open. Trump's government gave us masks. They have to be given to schools. So USAID gave us food for schools. World Feeding Program is going on in Turkana. If we don't take kids back to school, that World Feeding Program will have to end. And do you know how many millions or billions it is? Several US dollars. That's what happens, Lucia.
You know. Someone once asked me. I have a Malawian friend who said she used to think Kenya was a woke nation until she got to work and realized we are a whitewashed nation, and she's right. She's very right. So a friend of mine asked, why is it that we have over 100 NGOs and CBOs here in Kibra, yet nothing has never changed in Kibra? Because civil society now, the people in civil society have gotten so comfortable to being given per diems, going once a month to a 5-star hotel in Mombasa or Naivasha. You know,
outside the country.
They have developed a lifestyle that they do not want to lose. They never ever solve problems, because once you solve the problem, you've cut the source of money.
It stops.
And it's sad that we've gotten there as a nation.
Like what you've said.
It's desperately sad. And that's very sad.
You see, what you're saying, Lucia, is also, that is the replica. That's the mirror you see in the education. That's why one time you heard Magoha say, privateers and profiteers in the education, the mafia in education are mainly privateers. These private schools you see around, some of them are multi-billion. They are big things. Don't imagine these are small things. Some of them are run by governments. I know schools in Kenya run by governments like Sweden, where... So when they are here, they are not here because they are just teaching international programs. No, these are government things. They are funded. They have put money in the Ministry of Education. So profiteers will reach a place and tell people like Kina Magoha, can you reopen schools now or you lose the money? So it reaches a place the government's hands are tied. Whatever advice you will give, my friends, hakuna mtu atasikia sasa, because sasa hapo tunaongea kuhusu pesa, tunaongea kuhusu funding, tunaongea kuhusu vitu mingi, interests.
Every other sensible thing just goes out the
go
window when money comes into the equation.
And I was actually sitting with someone from a bank, a development bank. I don't want to mention the bank itself. And we were having a conversation about the corona money and all this money the government has been taking. And they are saying that it's a celebration moment for bankers, for banking, especially development banks.
Yes.
Giving, because an open check. You know, when they are funding a road, they channel the money to the project. Like now, we are telling the money to the road and they pay the contractor. In Corona, there's no contract. It's an open check. And the government is having a field time.
Yes.
You know, it's having a field day.
Yes.
Every time they are using the same Corona to pay pesa Corona,
Yes.
because it's an open check for them. They spend without any restrictions. So the question is, would we rather have our children in school, risking the lives of teachers? Because it's not only about the children. It's about the teachers as well. There are teachers who have underlying conditions. There are teachers who are old, who are becoming old.
Yes.
We are exposing them to these dangers.
Yes.
At one point, we really sit down and look at both interest on both ends. Where do we leave the teachers in this?
Now, the teachers' interests are supposed to come in, especially when we have got very strong unions. Like in developed countries, strong unions become the voice of the workers. That's what you saw at independence. You saw people like Tom Mboya. They came out strongly because they were strong voices in the labor movement. Now, the problem in Kenya, and I'm sorry to say this, I don't know if my father, Francis Atwoli, will be listening, because sometimes he really reprimands me for some of the words I use. But
In the tackle, we say the truth. We tackle the truth. We don't fear. Atwoli can come here and disagree with you.
If he dares just call me, I will defend you.
Atwoli will come for me in my village. I come with him from the
Sasa kutishia kwa maisha. Ile
I
tackle
will
bwana.
defend you.
So I was saying the voice of people like teachers, even doctors, and we have seen the doctors come out strongly with a good voice. And if you've not, and I'll give a difference as I go along, the thing with the labor movement, the moment politics comes into a labor union, when you start hearing a labor leader like, say, Francis Atwoli talk about BBI every time, BBI. When you hear my brother Wilson Arap Sosion every time hosting people in his home, and he doesn't talk about teachers' welfare, but he talks about BBI. He buys acres of space in the newspaper to say BBI, but says nothing about the teacher who's dying on the ground. Then you know the labor movement has been compromised. That is where the problem in Kenya is, Mr. Bitok. You know, me, I'm a hard tackler. And don't allow me to be coming to your show, because I'm too hard.
I need those tacklers.
Yes. When we have people like Wilson Arap Sosion, when you see him play politics, when you see him, he sings BBI, then you see him in parliament saying one or two things, then he comes back and says, oh, I'm a teacher. No, he's playing politics. There is no labor. There's nothing labor. That is why somebody can be sacked from Kenya Airways who has just taken a video clip of a Chinese, a plane coming in full of Chinese and bring in, let me use the word, even bring in some things like Corona. And that guy is sacked, but the labor world is quiet. You see my father, Francis Atwoli, silent on such an issue. Then you know labor has been bought by politics. And that is where the problem that teachers are going to have in this country. When you saw people like Arap Sosion being nominated into parliament with a political party, he goes there to represent not workers, because workers will belong to all political parties. But when he goes now to parliament and is nominated by a political party, he must sing Baba, 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 Baba. What Baba says, he becomes a cow. He's no longer the labor leader that you expected him to be.
And what happened to the labor movement from the days of Tom Mboya?
It died. Hunger, njaa. Kenyans, what were njaa?
I have a question.
Wakutaka kukula.
I have a
They
question.
could not sustain a labor movement that needs sacrifice. A labor movement is something like socialism. It's about bringing people together. It's about solidarity. But in Kenya, people are selfish. That's why Harambee Stars never wins. Because our Harambee Stars players are selfish. They want to ataki kupass mpira vizuri kwa mwenzake. That's why our athletes do better. Because our athletes run on his own. Kipchoge runs individually. He will win. But labor needs teamwork, which we will not see in Harambee Stars. That's why we are beaten with Comoros. The truth about labor and Kenya, is that we have reached a place as people, we are too selfish, too stomach-minded. And that's why labor movement in Kenya is dying.
So how did Nat join politics?
Yeah.
How did your boss find himself in parliament?
First
And
of all, it was very
he's a politician, and then he still represents the issue as a
Yes,
teacher.
in fact, that's how me and my boss ended parting ways. And I have to say it on this, because I was that time in Jubilee 2017, and he was in ODM, and he wanted us to talk ODM, tell teachers everything about ODM, write about ODM. He wanted me to communicate all ODM issues on our official pages, on our social media pages. So I reached a place, I said, boss, teachers are of all parties. We have teachers, even in Bomet, where you come from, who are in Jubilee. They want to elect Joyce Laboso, that time, the late. They want to go for William Samoei Ruto. Now, how do I start telling them about maybe in Nyanza, they'll be happy to hear about ODM. But so teachers are everywhere. So I told my brother, you play it safe. Don't go into politics. Our constitution as NAT does not allow us to go into politics when you are still in office. That's why Sosion has been registered as a teacher from Teacher Service Commission. That's why you have seen so many cases. That's why you have seen NAT go down. That's why we are not getting money as NAT. Because it reached a place, conflict of interest came in, Teacher Service Commission decided that we have abdicated our own constitution as a union, and said that we are no longer representing teachers of Kenya, all of them. We are partisan. We are in ODM and not in for all the teachers who are maybe in even other parties like even NAC and ANC. So it reached a place we fell out as Kenyans, as unions. Anyway, Bitok, labor movement died.
Long time ago.
It died. But the doctors, there is something about them that I really like. I don't know if it is because they are not easy to kuhonga.
Sasa nyinyi walimu ndio rahisi kuonga.
Ni kama sisi tuko rahisi, tuko na njaa, mshahara wetu ni kidogo ndugu yangu. Tuko na njaa.
Sasa ndio ni njaa.
Sisi njaa inatuua. Huo ndio ukweli.
I don't.
Lucia, do you know, one time in 2015, 2016, me and Sosion sustained a strike here in Kenya for 3 months. We were blamed because teacher salaries were stopped. My friend, teachers were camping in our houses. In my house, I'll wake up, teachers are there. Wewe ulituambia tusiende shule. Sasa angalia, mimi sina mshahara, mtoto wangu atasoma nini? But doctors could sustain a strike for almost 3-4 a year. When Ouma Oluga was the Secretary General.
Yeah.
And they were
now they are demonstrating against Oluga.
Yes, now of course they are saying Oluga has also been compromised. That's why I tell you politics may interfere na hii vitu yetu kabisa. Because when Oluga joined again to start becoming, I don't know, some executive officer, my spirit just died. I said, this is the labor leader that we were seeing in this country. Now you see, that's why doctors don't want it.
So why are you still allowing someone like Soshan to still be at the helm of NAT, and he's still a politician in parliament?
We don't allow. As NAT, people have we have demonstrated against Sosion. We have left the union. Teachers have left the union. The union is a shell. But let me tell you what protects him. The law. Thank you. The law. You discover that as days go by, he goes to court and gets court orders. Once he has court orders, my friend, you can't stop him. The court order is very clear. He remains the Secretary General. So Sosion has not held a meeting, an AGM, for the last 2 years. He has never called a general meeting. He has never called for anything. He's just there. He's just spending. He remains as the Secretary General with a court order. Most of these guys who are in these unions right now, most of them are in court. When was the last time you heard that Francis Atwoli was calling an election for court?
Hiyo sasa ndio Museveni wa kotu.
Hiyo sasa ndio swali niko nayo. I don't actually think the labor nini is dead per se. It's just stagnated and stuck with an old fossil who still thinks he's young na amekwamilia hiyo kiti ni kama amekorogewa hapo na simiti. Why is it that people in this country fear retirement? Why? Because I don't think Atwoli should be holding any public office as of now. He shouldn't. For how long has he been in Kotu? And nowadays, what else does he say people? What does he say to people other than ushenzi?
Yes.
There's no ideologies. Yeah. There's no strategy. Yeah. There's simply no plan.
Yes.
Nobody even knows what Kotu does anymore.
Yes. In fact, Lucia, just to add on what you're saying, if you are listening to the BBI2 at Bomas, that morning, just before the launch of the BBI2, the Labor Union for Nurses is called KNUNS, led by Seth Panyako, had come very clear and said, this BBI does not have anything good for workers. Because the BBI, the views that we gave to BBI as laborers, I also presented views through NAT. I wrote some of those views. We didn't want SRC. We said SRC is now dictating how salaries are done. It is biased. MCAs are getting more money than a doctor. We gave all those views. But the same PPI comes back and entrenches SRC. And so now what happened? It did not recognize something called Kenya. You know, like us teachers, we have something called Teacher Service Commission. These guys in health wanted something called Health Service Commission. Yeah. And they gave views, doctors, nurses, all these people were in the medical. And they talked to people like Atwoli. They said, kama BBI haitakuwa na Health Service Commission, we will not support it. Boss, BBI too did not bring about Health Service Commission. It brought about SRC. It really has watered down. Let me tell you, the way BBI is written, trade union movements cannot negotiate salaries for anybody. The only person mandated to negotiate a salary right now, a CBA, we call it a CBA, collective bargaining agreement, is the SRC as per the BBI. Simply meaning people like Asuncion, Atwoli, Seth Panyako, Oluga, I don't know, Mwachofi, all these guys are going to become redundant the moment BBI takes shape. This is something that people are not telling Kenyans. Trade union movement becomes redundant as BBI takes shape. Yet Atwoli goes to the same BBI. He does not question that. He just says, hey, washenzi. Oh, we should not be. Did he say tusitishwe? Yet workers wametishwa. Tumetishwa vibaya. I hope I'm not shouting. Mnani control mkiona nimeshout.
Inaitwa nini wenye umetoka kusema saa hizi?
He shouted. And let me say,
in fact, you should be singing Solidarity.
Yes, Solidarity is the song. Now, that song Solidarity is going to lose value as we go along right now in Kenya. BBI inaenda kuua Solidarity. Hiyo wimbo unasikianga tukiimba Solidarity together. Hamutaisikia tena.
Lakini mko ndani ya BBI.
Mimi siwezi kuwa ndani.
Baba yenu ako ndani. Baba yenu Sosiana ako ndani amesema BBI ni mzuri.
Sisi kama wafanyikazi na walimu kwanza ukienda kwa mitandao ya walimu you will be shocked. Every morning teachers wake up to just say hiyo kitu hatutaki. I'm telling you, I don't know how BBI will go through if it's not negotiated.
Do we have a disconnect between teachers and the people who are representing the voices of teachers? Because if Sosion is saying BBI tosha na walimu wanasema hawataki hiyo kitu, you people are misrepresented.
Of course. Because just as I said earlier, Lucia, our leaders were compromised. When a leader is already a political figure nominated, if Sosion today went against Baba, can he remain in that thing even for 2 days, even 1 hour? Sosion must sing BBI because he knows where his bread is buttered.
Yeah, very true.
Yes. So now the problem is, Sosion does not care much about Amunga, Akanyalabandu, sijui Huisero, sijui Humsalaba Primary School.
Akanyalabandu ni nini?
Umesikia majina za kwetu?
Akanyalabandu ni nini? Akanyalabandu ni nini?
Akanyalabandu is my name. It just means, as Lucia is telling you, it means mtu kadogo.
Ambaye anaweza.
Lakini jina ni mrefu. Akanyalabandu. Good morning, Akanyalabandu. So let's look at, we're talking about the cases that have already risen in schools. The question is, as you are a teacher, you interact with teachers.
Yes.
What are the measures that have been taken?
Yes, 2 things. In fact, that's a very good question. The first thing is Nancy Macharia, the Teacher Service Commission CEO, has done a good thing. She said a good thing when she was speaking the other day at KICD, that teachers have an insurance cover that is called Minet, Aeon Minet. Aeon Minet is an insurance cover that has been covering teachers now. I think this is the 9th year right now. And Aeon Minet, she told teachers, she gave them hotlines and all those kind of things. And I have seen a statement from Eon Minet saying that they are actually indeed going to take care of sicknesses arising from COVID-19 complications with the teachers and their families. So all the 300,000 teachers in Kenya under Teacher Service Commission covered by the Aeon or by Minet enjoy a medical cover that has decided to go against the norms. The norms is this, that even NHIF has said they can't cover a pandemic. If you Google all world insurance medical covers, they don't cover pandemics. But Aeon Minet has decided with Teacher Service Commission that they will cover, they will treat teachers. Even the teacher who died in Migori, I was following the story clearly. She was evacuated from Migori. Madam Martha was evacuated from Migori to Kisumu Nightingale Hospital by Aeon Minet. She was put on a ventilator. She was done all those kind of things. You see hospitals in Western, the only hospitals in Western that are now treating places like Eldoret, Kakamega, Bungoma, Kisumu. The only places teachers are now able to run to are hospitals run by Aeon Minet. Talking about life care hospitals, Bliss Medical Care, Medicross. There are around 6 hospitals. So these ones are putting teachers, they have special beds. If a teacher comes in, and or your family, your wife or your husband or your child, na kona COVID, at least that insurance cover is taken care of. See, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Then the other measure that now we are taking is now people like me who are fearless and hard tacklers. Yes. We are engaging Magoha online everywhere. Me have even a petition right now that we are started online and everywhere to have Magoha removed as the CS for education for 2 things. 1, he's not releasing funds to schools. Bito, can I say something here before I forget?
Sama.
Unajua uliposikia skuli zinafunguka, shule zinafunguliwa, Magoha akatangaza hapo, we have released 14 billion to schools. Do you know when we went back to do our mathematics, we discovered 14 billion is a drop. Primary schools, every child in primary school was given 26 shillings. 26 bob. Every child
1, 2, 3, 26.
Paka 26. Hiyo ndio pesa mtoto alipewa as preparation ya kununua choka, ya kulipa watchman, ya kulipa stima ya hiyo shule, ya kulipa maji, ya kutengeneza all the COVID 26. A child in boarding school, in high school, they were given 20. Yani, they released 20% of the free primary and secondary education. 20% of the money teacher schools were to get in the year 2020. Only 20% of the free education funds was released to schools. 20%. That is money that cannot do much. Kai Ndimuli, chairman of, Kai is an employee of the TS, so he can't talk much. Yeye anaongea tu chini chini, anasema unajua walimu wanasema hawana pesa kwa mashule. Hatuwezi hata lipa hata stima.
Anaongea na kipole.
Anaongea kama panya hivi, akiongea kipuliza. Hata kuongea vile mimi naongea hivi. Yes.
Hana pesa.
Hatuna pesa. Now unajua the problem is it is you people, young people listening to me and other Kenyans who are listening to me. It is our country's future that is suffering. When we go to those schools like Olympic Primary, and Magoha comes there and takes a picture with a few desks, he says, we are supplying, I don't know how many billions, as you a million desks to schools. Kumbe anapeleka desks 100 Olympic Primary. Olympic Primary has got 18 classrooms of 80 children in each class. Now, those desks are a drop in the ocean. It means he's only putting 2 desks per class. 2. Yani, amekuja amepiga mapicha, watu wa media wameongea hapo, wameonekana amewafanya kitu, but he has only bought 2 desks for every classroom in that school.
2 desks.
2 desks.
1, 2.
Yes. Na hizo desks hazitoshi. Hata wazazi wakienda wanashangaa zile desk Magoha alileta ziko wapi? I'm telling you, go to the nearest school where umeona Magoha ameenda ati anapeleka desk. Muulize hizo desks ziko wapi. You will be shocked. There are 12 desks, 15 desks, 40 desks in a school of 3,000 children. 3,000 children.
Ama iko na double decker.
40 desks.
Ama iko na double decker.
Alafu
Ni desk double decker.
yes.
Na social distancing.
Yes. So your PR, I said on one of the TV stations recently, Ministry of Education has become the source of fake news in Kenya. The biggest fakers are called Ministry of Education. What are fake?
What the fake?
Fake kabisa, wanaongozwa na Magoha, alafu watu wako hapo, watu kinajui Belio ni rafiki yangu, lakini sitaki kujua, nitakwambia ukweli tu. Nyinyi ni fake. Nyinyi ni watu fake. Because many times you lie to
Kama
parents.
ungezeka utakuwa atoli. Nyinyi fake.
These guys lie to parents. They lie to everybody. Oh, tumepeleka desk. Oh, we have released money to schools. Oh, sijui free feeding programs. Oh, textbook ratio 1:1. Wongo. I mean,
Akajala kanga. So let me ask about the procedure of procuring desk. It's my desk. Why did we need to procure the desk from Nairobi? Yes. Because the schools have been buying desks. I studied in a public school. We used to procure desk ourselves. Mashule zina desk natengenezwa nyumbani. A desk would probably cost you 400 shillings or 700 shillings.
Yes.
Why would we do desk at 2,000 shillings? The government is saying it's procure at 2,000 shillings.
That's what I'm calling mafia, my brother. Talk mafia. What ni mafia? Because the biggest mafia is no longer at Afya House. Mafia iko Jogo House. Hao jamaa tunawajua, tunafanya nao, ni wenzetu, tumetoka nao university, tunajuana. Unapata like Migori, and I'll give a very good example. In Migori, one of the human resource managers at Ministry of Education, comes from Migori. He has his friends who own his shops as a carpentry. Yet he's also the guy is in charge of procurement. Do you know all he does? Anatafuta tu marafiki zake, wewe Bitok supply 300 desks to Kakamega Primary. LUCIA supply 50 desks to Olympic Primary. Fulani Amunga unaweza tupelekea 200 desks. Alafu check inaandikiwa.
Alafu tunatuma mtu wa kamera.
Alafu mtu wa kamera anatoka kuja huko mbio. Na Magoha pia
anapigiwa Douglas kuja na kamera.
Yes. Magoha anatafutiwa chopa, anaruka Eldoret Langas Primary haraka sana. Pictures zinapigwa. Uhuru where is seated, anaona kweli kazi inaendelea. Hii Kenya yangu kweli, Kenya tunasonga mbele. Those speech writers of Uhuru, other fake Kenyans in this country are those speech writers of Uhuru. Hao ndio watu wengine fake because fake like hell. Hao watu wanaenda wanatuandikia hapo speeches zile Uhuru anasomanga, wanarudia maneno. You'll hear them say,
hello Kenyans.
Yes, hello Kenyans.
We have distributed desks.
We have CBC program is working well in schools. Fake.
Nadhani Uhuru anaandikiwanga speech na watu wa Otimofo. They don't live in Kenya. They have no idea what goes on.
Kwa sava.
Hawajui ni nini inaendeleanga huku. Bana, unajua imefika ile time of the year where I have to address the nation again. Simfanye chezeni kama nyinyi. Wanatuma speech kwa email.
Yes.
Jamaa anasimama anawasomea speech.
Anasoma.
Anamaliza anasema maneno mbili tatu, anarusha mkono alafu anaenda.
Sasa tuonana na jamaa. Story imeisha.
So sisi walimu, in fact the other day I wrote on one of my forums, walimu don't even wait for Uhuru's speech. He'll not even tell us anything much because the people who write those speeches for him don't even know what we are going through. They don't know what's happening in those schools. Tunyamaze tu. Let us just tuombe tu Mungu wetu because there's very little we can do about that. So that is the problem, Bitok.
And those so you memalizana measures bado ziko.
Measures
za COVID-19
No, sasa the measures were like no breaks, hakuna break, watu wavae mask, walimu watoto wavae masks, social desk equals you how many meters. Okay. Let me say we are not really they are done when Magoha is around in school. Akikuja unapata walimu wanaambia watoto tafuteni, hata kama ni kuomba mnaomba mask, kama ni kukopeshwa unatafuta mtu anakukopesha mask. Hata walimu, do you know masks, even mwalimu kupata mask sometimes is very difficult. As a teacher in a rural school in Nairobi here, when I was even coming here, nimenunua mask kwa barabara hapa, nikanunua mask zangu hapa kadhaa, ndio hii hapa. But I'm telling you, in the village even where I come from, to get a mask you'll have to go to look for some town which is far from you. Why would you spend 50 bob on a pikipiki going to buy a mask? Na shule iko tu hapa ya 10 bob ama 20 bob. Una walk to into school na unafundisha na rudi kwa nyumba yako. So most times these things are not the
government is not providing
masks.
It's
not.
Aya.
All this money ulisikia yote ilitoka sijui Jack Mas sijui vitu gani. That money has never reached any school in this country. Hakuna mask kwa shule. Kuna.
Hakuna mask kwa shule.
And that's what hata bitok fake.
Kunywa maji akalakanga.
Kunywa maji.
Kunywa maji. Kunywa maji. Yeah, at least your maji sio fake.
Hii maneno imekuwa moto sana.
Imekuwa moto. Hii ni kubaya. Washa AC hapo Douglas kwa sababu akalakanga anaweza kuisha hapo.
No, I'm okay.
So we also look at that's a sad state of affairs as we speak, because the government actually should have prioritized giving out masks to teachers, because they are like frontline workers. When you talk about frontline workers, they're still the same thing, because they are being exposed every
And not
day.
just masks, even PPEs. You know, even these things we call PPEs. We were hoping that even teachers can get a few teachers, because now we have isolation rooms in schools. If you've noticed, around 30 schools right now. There are 2 schools in Elgeyo Marakwet. There's a school in Eldoret. There is Kabarnet Boys. There is where the girl died the other day. Mukumu Girls. They have become isolation centers. Actually, what's happening is this, Bitok and Lucia. Schools are becoming isolation centers. Because mtoto akishagunduliwa ni mgonjwa, mnaenda kwa hiyo dom, mnapima watoto, mnapata ni wagonjwa. The next thing you do, you declare one dom an isolation center. Now, how will teachers visit those doms and do inspection and ensure things are working if they don't have PPEs? They need protection. Teachers are not guinea pigs. Waende tu kwa hiyo dom tu kuangalia kuona watoto wako namna gani, and because once a child is in school, that child becomes the responsibility of the teacher. And Bitok, mtoto akikufa kwa shule right now, according to the Kenyan constitution, there is a court where a child alianguka kwa kisima in Yala. The principal of that school was sacked because she was negligent. Yani aliachilia mtoto akafanya nini? Akaanguka kwa kisima. That ruling is still in place up to now. Right now, mtoto wewe Lucia, if you had a child upeleke kwa shule yangu, Kakamega Primary ama Kakamega High, and I'm the head teacher of that school, na mtoto akufe kwa mikono yangu because apate ugonjwa akiwa kwa shule, alipotoka kwa nyumba yako hakuwa na ugonjwa, but when he came to school akapata ugonjwa, you have every right, Lucia, to go to court and sue Kakamega High School for killing your child with COVID-19. Because your child didn't come from home with a sickness. Alikuja kama ako free. Ulipeana mtoto wako wa shule kama ako sawa.
Akiwa sawa.
So there is a ruling to that effect. Meaning, we as teachers are also now walking a very tight rope. If children have started dying in our schools, parents who are alert, like mimi mtoto wangu wanasoma Riara High School, munisikize vizuri sana. Mtoto wangu akikufa hapo Riara, nitacho mnajua Amunga sio fake.
Karibu sema nini? Unataka hapa na mashida ya big man bazoo hapa.
Nilikuwa nafikiria mimi ni moto. Kumbe kuna ule mwenye ni moto kunishinda.
Huyo si fake. All right, we talked about the protocols in schools. One of them is social distance and actually limiting number of pupils or students in class. As we speak, what is the ratio student to teacher or teacher to teacher?
Yeah. We talk, that is where the biggest problem is. The biggest problem in this country is staffing. Actually, as we prepare for now, let me just give you the clear picture now. The coming year, 2021, there's going to be a crash program, the way you saw the calendar that has come out.
Yes.
But it is going to really culminate in 2022. That is when we'll have four terms in 1 year. 4 terms. What you've been reading even in the newspapers is that parents are even like, the headlines today in the Standard are like, parents are like, how will we pay fees for 4 terms in 1 year? That is the headline in today's paper. So it is happening in 2022, the year of election, the year of BBI. So, and as we prepare for this BBI and the election, what is happening is that the number of teachers in schools has remained low. This year alone, 2020, this is 2020, we were reading that 100,000 teachers are exiting the service in terms of old age. Wengi wana retire. Wengine pia during this time we were away from school. So many teachers have also passed on, not just because of COVID, many other things, including even depression. And so we are reaching a place whereby the staffing in schools is bad. The last time I was in a school, when I was teaching in a school here down here at the river, where I was telling you I was the only male teacher. I was teaching 37 units in a day, in a week, 37 lessons in a week. When I started teaching in Kakamega High School in 1994, I was teaching 8 lessons in a week. Now, a Kiswahili English teacher, a teacher like me of language or Kiswahili, to teach 37 lessons, that means I'm not going to have time to mark those books. I'm not having enough time to look at the work, to listen to the pronunciations of the children. Simply, it's overwhelming. Teachers are overwhelmed in those schools. If January, there'll be reopening, full reopening, and government has not employed teachers to take care of your children in those schools. Actually, I want to just announce, the children are just going there for PR. There's no teaching going on there.
Wameenda cinema.
Ni cinema tu, ni view sasa. Hakuna kufundisha. Ni fake. There's nothing going on in those schools. You just go to a school. Me, I'm a teacher. You go to a school. Even when we have been at NAT headquarters here, tunaenda kutembelea walimu kwa mashule. Walimu wako kwa staff room. Mwalimu anakuja, darasa imejaa. Anafundishia kwa dirisha. Ako nje. Anasema, fungueni page 12. Haya, copy what is there. Mimi narudi. That's how we are teaching. So that is why you hear people taking children to private schools. That's when you hear people rushing to talk to. Bitok yani ni kubaya. You go to some of those schools, there's no learning going on. We are there to just make sure days go by. Magoka tukisikia anakuja, tunasafisha vizuri shule, because we know atakuja na watu wa kamera na vipindire, wapige vipindire yao hapo waende. Tunarudi maisha yetu ya kawaida ambayo ni kungojea tu mshahara, because there's nothing much.
Kuna mtu anauliza hapa ni wapi mlikosana na Sosion?
Sosion aliingia siasa. Huyo ni mtu fake. Alipoingia siasa akaacha mambo ya walimu. So what my brother Sosion Wilson is doing mostly is just siasa. You know, you just notice. You can hear from how me I speak and how Sosion speaks. There's a big difference. If Sosion was to be here today, he'll be telling you about why BBI is important for teachers. I don't know who Baba did good, what, I don't know what he provided. He will not tell us what I'm telling you right now.
Hapo ni mlikosana.
Hapo ndo tuliachana sasa.
Ndio aliingia,
because aliingia
dini ya msambo ya siasa.
And it is the reason. It's not only me. Ambia huyu ambaye anauliza why Amunga alikosana na Sosion. Look at the register of NAT. The year when I was in NAT, I was one of the recruitment officers. We had 280,000 members. NAT was a giant union. The biggest union in Africa, south of Sahara, north of Limpopo. Biggest union was NAT. Today, NAT has around 18,000 members. Many have left. So, sio tu mimi nimetoka. Tulitoka wengi tulipogundua NAT iliingia siasa, ikaingia mambo ya kukampenia vitu ya ODA, ya BBI, tukasema hiyo ni ngumu kwetu.
Sasa mungeita tu NAT Party of Kenya na muendelee na maisha.
Maybe. So that people who want to join can now join.
So you say as you're going back to schools, watoto wanaenda cinema waende kusoma.
Hakuna kusoma inaendea huko.
The teacher ratio is a joke.
Then double intake. In 2022, there's something we've not talked about called CBC. Sijui kama nyinyi mko na wadada ama watoto wa
CBC.
I actually wanted to ask about that, because now we are told, our education system 844 is not right. So we are introducing this new other system.
Nasikia bakada nikashinda.
And our kids are coming home with very strange things.
Yes. Watoto wenyu kwanza wanakuja wanafagia barabara, wengine wanaosha sewage, alafu mnasikia ati COVID imejaa. Now this is the thing. When as parents in this country, we are so lax. We take a back seat in so many things. CBC is something that parents need to come in and really question it and find out. Mnataka kufundisha nini? Truth of the matter is, CBC is how to prepare children of the poor, watoto wa maskini, watoto wale watu wananisikiza, to be entertainers for the children of the rich in future, to be the ones who will sweep their roads and houses, to be the ones who will play piano for them as they dance, to be the ones to be singing makofi ya nyayo 1, 2, 2, and do it in the level. Yes, because the children of the rich are not undergoing CBC. When Golden Kakuya, those of you who follow education issues, Golden Kakuya is a small girl who passed very well in a school in Kakamega huko kwetu. So when she passed, she was called to Kenya High, a public school where vitu kama CBC and Kenyan systems are taught. But you know, the first family decided to take over the education of Goldine. And Goldine was taken to Brook House and enrolled in an international program. The other day, when our children are still at home, if you are following newspapers, Goldline was graduating with flying colors. It was in papers. Just during this COVID-19 period when schools have been closed. She was graduating with flying colors from one of the international GSC. Yes. So mtoto huyu anaitwa Goldline. Alikuwa anaenda na hii system yetu ya kawaida. But because first family got interested wakampeleka kwa hii ingine.
Nalo anapelekanga wao.
Yes, wale wao wanaendanga. Huyu msichana she'll never be the same. Alikuwa amelekwa Kenya High. Kenya High ni shule ya maskini. Those days you used to hear Kenya High, unasikia mtu ako Kenya High. Wow, that's a school. Hiyo ni shule imejaa. Hakuna hata mahali ya kulala. State House Girls hapa chini. If you take your daughter to State House Girls, unampeleka na kitanda na mattress. Na unatafuta ka desk mahali. Na unatafuta, because there are no beds. Children are sleeping even in the abolition blocks because there's no space in the school. Now, in such a school, na mwingine amepelekwa Brook House, that one in Brook House is better learning. Simply what I'm trying to say is this. CBC is not to help your child. It is to make your child a worker, a slave, to recall.
It's a colonial system.
But it's not tailored for us. 844 is what made most of you are here with me today. 844, the inventor of M-Pesa is an 844 graduate. 844 graduates have done well in those universities abroad. Some of the best nuclear scientists right now we have in some universities abroad who have been named are 844 graduates. 844 was doing its work. And I think it was just doing well.
Let's look at the calendar that have been announced by Magoa. The crash calendar, is it realistic?
No, of course not. So it will backfire in 2022 when everything comes to a halt. Because can you imagine, even during the election month, which is August in 2022, schools will close for 1 week. I think 3 days actually. It's just 3 days when you look at that calendar. Simply meaning the day we are voting, schools will have closed because of the voting station will be required to, schools will be used as voting stations. Now the question we talk is this. A week later, schools are supposed to have.
And we have a referendum coming in June.
We have a referendum. Apart from that,
BBI.
there will be people who will go to Supreme Court to complain that they have lost. The others will start Machozi Monday and Machozi Thursday and Machozi Tuesday. How will we have schools open in August after 1 week of election in this kind of country? This program is for something like in Germany or something. This school calendar cannot work in Kenya because even the politics of Kenya, the political landscape of Kenya cannot allow this calendar to work. So this is fake. Then again, another thing that I can tell you about this calendar again is parents can't afford. Which parent can afford to pay fees for 5 terms or 4 terms in a year? If 1 term inatushinda, hata wengine hajalipa ile term 1 ya hii mwaka. Sasa mnataka kuniambia 4 terms in 1 year parents will pay.
Back to back.
Fake. It will not work.
Fake.
Of course it will not work. Our children, while we were giving them holidays, long holidays, walikuwa wameanza kutuchomea mashule bwana. Unakaa na wanafunzi kwa shule Kakamega High, sijui Kisii High School, sijui Kabarnet Boys. Unakaa na watoto kwa shule for 12 months. Mtoto aendangi nyumbani hata ana holiday, hata kuchoma kwa hiyo shule. Watoto wanataka kwenda home for holiday. They want to go and meet their girlfriends. They want to go and eat chapati. They want to go and listen to the latest hip hop that is now singing. They want to go and listen to Major. Yeah. They want to listen to vipindere yao hiyo. Na wewe unaweka kwa shule for 11 months. Be talk. Fake. It will not work.
So it's not realistic.
It cannot work.
However, in as much as the CBC is not well advised, I also have issues with the 844 system. I think there are things in the 844 system that can be improved. I don't know which ones per se, but then the 844 system is structured in such a way that it doesn't actually test your knowledge. It only tests your memory. your ability to remember things, because otherwise why would you be asking me questions in 8 years later about something I learned 8 years
So we are
earlier on?
we are taking memory cards to school.
Yeah.
See what
You know, it's just, it's a system that's, if you're star shaped, the 844 system is meant to make you round. If you're square, it's meant to make you round. If you're rectangle, it's meant to make you round. No matter which shape you come in, it just makes you round, because
it's a mold that's already been designed.
It teaches you how to only cram things. There are things, by the way, back then in school, I knew very well. But if you ask me about them right now, I wouldn't know what to say. Because nilishafanya exam, manze mi nilishamaliza, you know, like,
You don't want to know.
Yeah.
Nitakufunga hiyo story. All right, so let's look at mambo pia hapo ya mdosi yako. Magoha niliona juzi alipigwa summoning.
Yeah.
What was going on in Eldoret, and why is it that Magoha lacks a lot in as much as his plays? You were saying anapiga cinema, lakini ana work relationship with his juniors.
That's a great question. You know, Magoha has a very good CV. Very few Kenyans have a CV kama Magoha. 96 page CV. Hey, one, that is a big CV.
That is a whole book.
Yes, a
that
book.
Is an entire book.
Because masomo yake muzuri. Ukiangalia vile alienda mashule muzuri. He's a stare. He's a starean. Those days of mine, mtu alikuwa amepitia stare. Wewe ni mtu wa juu. So Magoha is a great guy in terms of that. And he's a surgeon. He's a medical doctor. He's a surgeon. And he's a lecturer of doctors. Yani ni mwalimu wa madaktari. But you see, that's as far as it goes. There is something people say that Magoha was able to do when he was at the University of Nairobi as the chancellor, the vice chancellor. He got a job there and he was a vice chancellor. And for those who worked with him, they say that he shaped the university somehow. Hakukuwa na strike. Because you know, University of Nairobi is well known for strikes. But during Magoha's time, hakuna strike. Then again, when he came to Nani picked him, Matiang'i picked him and put him in the exam, Kenya National Exams Council as the chairman. Again, according to sources, they say Magoha made sure that stealing of exams that was rampant stopped. So, you know, those are some of the things that gave him the edge why he was elected or selected or appointed to be the minister for education. But you see, education is a very interesting thing, Lucia. Education goes with especially education in Kenya, is more basic education than higher education.
Yeah.
Our demographic graphs, yani unaona ile graph kama ile uliona kwa geography when you were in school, unajua in a country like Sweden, watu wazee ndio wengi, alafu mtu wa 90s ni wengi, alafu 80, alafu 75, alafu vijana inakuja na kwa kidogo. In Kenya it's the other way around. In Kenya watoto wale wamezaliwa leo ni wengi hata kuliko sisi. So the graph goes like that. So basic education is what carries education in Kenya, because we have more learners in the basic system than in the higher education. Magoha was more specialized in the higher. He has been a professor, he has been what? He was more there. So hii kitu ya education ilikuja ikamlemea. When you see a professor talking the way he talked, like in Eldoret, when you see him walk around with a tape measure, measuring the social distance between desks in schools, when you see the way he talks, you see a man who is, I think he's frustrated. He's not in his right profession. Miles Monroe, a certain preacher who passed on, but people really like him. We talk, I can see you are still busy, but Mike, you must have heard of Miles Monroe.
Miles Monroe was my guy.
Yeah, Miles Monroe used to say that one thing that you must discover in life is your purpose. Why were you made? Yani ulikuja nini? Kama nyinyi vile mko hapa unajua you are enjoying yourself because this is what you are made to do.
Yeah.
If you are meant to be a bus driver, just be a bus driver and be a good bus driver. In Kenya, the constitution yetu ama sijui ni nini, the president can pick somebody said it the other day on some post, can pick a spin doctor like Mutahi Kagwe, a spin doctor, mtu wa kujua maruma mongers na vitu kama hizo, awekwe Ministry of Health. Imagine. And a doctor mtu amesomea udaktari, amejua udokta what is needed kama Magoha, ametolewa hawezi pewa ministry kama hiyo, anawekwa kwa ministry kama education. That's why Miles Monroe says we fail. That's how Africa fails. Magoha is a right man but in the wrong place. He's the right man but in the wrong place.
In the very wrong place.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Oi, tunaenda kuchukua masimu, tunafungua bunge la mwenye nchi. Nambari ni 0779-800-800-10 0779-800-10 0779-800-10. Hiyo ndio nambari ya simu. Unaweza piga simu tuambie kama wewe ni fake ama wewe ni real. Nambari ni 0779-800-10 0779-800-10 0779-800-10. Lakini wanasemanga Munga, wanasemanga dawa ya baluni sindano. Babu Wino alikuwa anakimbiza Magoha mbaya mbovu wakati alikuwa chairman wa Sodu. Ni nini alikuwa amewezea Magoha? Alikuwa amemaliza kabisa.
The good thing with Babu, Babu doesn't fear anything. You see, that's the good thing with him. And I think Babu and even this Magoha, the current minister, you know, apart from Babu, Magoha, you know, even was, if you look around, he was one of the people even, not Magoha, Matiang'i. Magoha sacked him at the university. So sio tu Babu alikuwa anakimbiza huyu, hata Magoha alipewa barua ya kutoka kwa kazi hapo na huyu Magoha. Yani Magoha alifuta Matiang'i from the University of Nairobi.
Magoha alifuta Matiang'i. Yes. Acha nisikie simu. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, General. How are you?
Good morning.
Salamia paneli.
Umesalimika?
Umesalimika.
This is Kalia Eldoret.
MC Kalia vipi bana?
Niko poa sana, nashukuru.
Habari ya Kettle Deep menokwisha?
Kettle Deep menokwisha iko salama, nimenyorosha mambo.
Umeenda hujaenda maandamano? Ama ulienda, you swore yourself in?
Umesikia mgeni akisema 844 iko strong.
Sasa umeenda demonstration menokwisha?
I used the 844 powers, nikadeal nao watu within 2 days they were okay.
Haya, tuambie Dadi.
Msikalia bwana unakaa ni kama umerig elections ya Kettle Deep.
No, si kurig elections. You know, you see, I was not like Trump. I went to the Supreme Court before even the elections. Nikamwambia, can you be prepared?
Okay.
Haya, tuambie maneno tusikie.
Show ni nzuri.
Asante sana.
Mine is just to celebrate the show, and nimekuwa nikisikiza na kuna mengi ya kujifunza. And just thanking the panelists for saying it as it is.
Wow, thank you.
Good day.
Asante sana ndugu yangu. Alright, nasikia MC Kalia amesema kazi inaendelea vizuri hapa. Wacha niangalie pia comments kidogo zile tunasubiri simu nyingine. First nasema Alex, psychophancy is not what is required in this kind of today. Not that because you are a Luo, Kikuyu and Kalenjin means you support him, or because of your tribe we cannot build our future. Amunga is bringing in views that as count as Kenyans and mentally favor someone who are from your, you know, sijaelewa hiyo, utarudia. Alex asema spin doctor, amecheka pale. Victor Samuel asema basic and higher education. Can you explain basic and higher education? All right. 844 anasema inahitaji BBI. Emmanuel Kipsanga asema kwani huyu Amunga ni brother to Trump. Amesema fake kama Trump anapigi sana. Daisy Chiro anasema Lucia, I like that there are gaps in 844. Timothy Kibrono anasema show iko moto sana. David Kimwa anasema sio Raila kabisa, someone else. Daisy Chiro anasema he should not rubbish CBC and talk of Brookhouse being better than Kenya. I State House gas. CBC responds more to our problems as a country and will churn out self-sufficient students who are creative and innovative. 844 is simply for job seekers. Victor Ochia anasema hapo Amunga hajaambia mzee vizuri ati machozi Monday. Victor Samoei anasema falling from Jubilee headquarters. Right. Alex Ogero anasema are we closing for BBI? Are we closing schools for BBI? That's a question. Kipkeju anasema why can't we cheat death by closing schools? Hiyo ni swali. Sultan Ari Tumbi anasema following from Juja, asante sana. Alex Ogero naona Jason Thulu anasema akanyala bandu. Uko na kwa kweli kiasi. Naona Rona anasema please Lucia Salime Mr. Amunga on our behalf, we support you guys, let's echo even more. Rona anasema wow, fire today Lucia, we are not alone, public eclairs are many. Mr. Amunga talking and real, the whole truth. Alright guys, nimeona pia Mushei Wangasha anasema the president can't allow Magoha anywhere near the Ministry of Health because he will unearth their stealing tricks. Peter Njunga anasema it's not the late to close the schools again. Huku Chris have closed again after the second wave. You know, that's quite interesting. Chati Kitiwa Zamoko was also mambo bad as an administrator. Hii maneno haijaanza juzi kwa ministry, but he did well in administrative position during his tenure. Yeah. Alright, guys, nimeona wazazi wamekuja pia wamesema kwamba they have a problem with what was announced the other day in terms of the crash program ambayo imeletwa na wanalia story ya fees. What is the outcome that you expect from this akanyagalaganga? The chairman, the National Association chairman, is set to convene a meeting to discuss raft measures to cushion parents from what they consider as high fees ahead of the January 2021 school calendar. What do parents expect from the meeting?
Yes, I've just seen from the comments, my wife, the whole of Riara school is tuned in.
Haya. Watu wa Riara, wacha niwape watu wa Riara makofi. Watu wa Riara makofi kwenu. Asante sana.
Yes, I just want to say I'm glad. I'm reading the comments, and actually I can see Kenyans are following. There's somebody who has written said there's something like that who will listen. The problem is we talk about these things, yes, but people don't listen. Bitok, you've just asked us a question about funding and about school fees. The question that is a great question that parents are wondering. Who foots the bill? Truth of the matter is, CBC and this new program that is coming in, we are on our own as parents. Parents, musitegemee kwamba ati serikali ama magoha atakusomeshia mtoto wako. Anza kujipanga tu mapema. Wakenya, mujipange, my friends. Start planning how you will educate your children. This man called Mwai Emilio Kibaki, when he began the free education in our schools, he had a vision and a plan. I was in class. I saw the money coming to schools. I saw CDF starting. I saw bursaries coming to schools. I saw how things were working. And I saw how our schools started developing. Those of you who have children in school, you must have seen the developments in our schools. Yes, during the presidential speech the other day, it's called a State of the Nation Address. Those who listened and who are listening to us this morning, the president said something like, in the next 2 weeks, those speech writers of the president, whom I called fake, they said, in the next 2 weeks, we shall have designs from the Ministry of infrastructure and transport on structures in schools, how dorms will be built so that by January, dorms will be ready. Wacha niambie wazazi. I am a board of governor chairman here in Nairobi of a public school. Sitaki kusema sababu magoha anaweza nifuta. That school, I am the one who signs the checks in that school. Hakuna shilingi hata moja. Hakuna design yoyote imekuja from the Ministry of Education, from government, from State House, from anywhere, coming to tell me, Chairman Amunga, tunataka kujenga darasa ingine hapa. When the students will come to my school, when the schools open in January, watapata majengo ni yale. Cho, ni zile. Classes, ni ile. Simply, hakuna kitu ingine wameongeza. All these 7 months we were on Bitok, nothing has been added to the school that Amunga is the chairman of the board. What about the other schools? I'm told there are schools in Elgeyo Marakwet that were even swept away. I'm told there are schools in Baringo, the lake has even taken over. I'm told there are schools that there's nothing going on. Bushes, snakes, and other things have overtaken and are in those schools. No shilling, nothing has been done in those schools. Parents, have strong PTA, Parents Teachers Associations. Muform tu wenyewe kwa wenyewe. Mujipange wazazi kama wenyewe kwa wenyewe. Muambiane, hii shule yetu tuna watoto wetu wanataka kusoma hapa, tuifanyie nini? Mutafute Arambe, muite kama ni MP, muite kama ni Bitok, muite kama ni Lucia, awachangie pesa. Mfanye nini? Upate, sorry.
Alright. Wacha tuchukue simu pale. Alright, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Tackle.
Yes, good morning to you, sir. Am I speaking to?
Yes, I'm Richard Michael Obere from Kilifi.
Yes, Richard Michael Obere. Asante sana, mwana umekuwa fan wa karibu sana.
Yes.
Tuambie nadi.
Napenda show sana.
Thank you so much, my brother. Umaalika watu wangapi?
Maalika wengi sana. Leo ni vile nimepata na shughuli mingi, lakini maalika wengi sana.
Asante sana. Tuambie nadi.
Yeah, my issue ni kuwa this public school, the panelist amesema fake kabisa, fake. Yani wanaleta pesa shule meant for free primary education, alafu wanakaa chini the Ministry of Education wanapanga pesa inaanza kurudi kwa ofisi ya ministry, sijui inaenda kwa seminar, inaenda kwa nini mpaka shule inabaki na nothing. Unashindwa, shule haina kitu ya kutumia, alafu wanaanza kuuliza wazazi pesa. Hii mambo sijui inaenda aje. Hiyo ministry ni fake.
Ni fake?
Fake mbaya sana.
Asante sana Michael Obere. Ministry ni fake.
Yes.
Alright. Amunga, solution ni gani tukisonga mbele?
Solution ni, first of all, nikisema sasa zingine itaonekana mbaya, but
Sema tu vile iko bwana. Usiogope kalakanga.
Ni fake. Yani, the problem we have in Kenya is we are being now run with guys who went to private schools, privateers and profiteers. We have too many people running Kenya government who are not in a school like me. Unajua mimi nilisoma Shamsi Injiri, nikatoka Shamsi Injiri nikaenda Shivinga, nikatoka huko nikaenda LUCIA. Sasa you see, I learned in funny schools, so you know
even the names are yani unashindwa kama kweli udai omoka.
Now in Shamsi Injiri, boy and girl, night and day, you know, at Shamsi Injiri, boy and girl, we were taught, we started learning by writing on the mulufu. Yani mulufu sijui nitasema nini kwa Kiswahili.
Jamaa tu mulufu.
Yani kwa on the soil. Hakukuwa na kitabu. So when a person takes over this country who learned in the best cream schools, the St. Mary's, the Brook Houses, the schools that matter, where people ate sausages and were brought, like there's a school called Turi in Molo called St. Andrew's Turi, where the parking lot are choppers. Unaona? Mtoto akitoka Turi, St. Andrew's Turi, akuja kuwe president wa Kenya, na asimamia vitu kama education. Unajua hata elewa kabisa mtu wa Shamsi Injiri kama mimi, hata niona kama fake sana, atashangaa, is this an animal or is this a human being? Because aelewi ati huyu mtu ati hawezi kupata chai asubuhi akienda shule, ati ana exercise
na viatu,
anaenda na masingo. Unajua, as we went with cow dung. To smear on the floor before we learned that every morning all of us will go to school with a masingo. Now imagine mtu wa St. Andrew's Turi alikuja na chopa kwa shule. After evening akirudi nyumbani anachukuliwa na kachopa. Asubuhi akiletwa analetwa na chopa na cook wa kumpikia lunch yake hapo kwa shule na buffet yake ile atatumia. Now mtu kama huyo asha become sasa tuseme the president ama nini. Unajua inakuwa vigumu sana kumuelezea. For him to see the trajectory that I have, it becomes very hard. The problem with Kenya is not that we are not there. We have too many theorists who surround the leaderships of this country. Watu wa theory, watu wa kutuandikia. Vile Lucia amesema, watu wanaandika speech ya Orezo, na watu ni kama wako kule wanaitwa Analytica, sijui inaitwa nini. Cambridge Analytica wako huko. Ni mzungu fulani anaandikia Orezo speech. Ajui hata Kenya iko aje. Anaandika tu alafu anamwambia enda usome. So that is the type of people now we have who surround our leaders. Uwezi pata mdosi amekaa na mtu kama Amunga, because mimi siwezi mfikia anasema, Amunga ulisoma shule gani?
Anasema
Tunaanza kusema she boy and girl day and night high school. Sasa unapata
anasema we'll call you, don't call us, we'll call you.
Uwezi pata hata kazi. You see, because kama ulisoma St. Andrew's Turi, the guys you surround yourselves with are guys of St. Andrew's Turi. That's why you unasikianga those days when Alliance High School was the school. Most of the guys who are running government those days utasikia, Attorney General mtu Alliance High, sijui nini mtu Alliance Girls. There was a time Alliance was the one. So unasikia kumbuka. Now it is privateers and profiteers who guys who have taken over the country, and they are the ones who run. They are the ones who are in the places of power. They are the ambassadors. Like there's somebody in my village who who we are told even failed at St. Mary's, but now I'm sorry, but he's now a very big guy somewhere in Ireland. So these are the guys. As long as I'm your classmate, we talk at Kabarak. Now when the ambassador England, like my friend Manoa speaks, you will give me a job at as an education attaché.
Umo by default.
Yes. So Lucia,
wengine wetu tulienda hiyo Kabarak na bado hatujaomoka.
Ujakaribia kwa makrasme.
Hiyo kuomoka bado tunaionea huko.
Unaoneka kwa TV.
So what is happening is that's number one. The orientation of the people who lead the country doesn't favor public education. Then number two is education is run by 3 areas, Bitok and Lucia. Quality tools. Quality tools is number one. Quality tools involves the stationery, the chalk, the blackboard, the textbooks. You know, it's like the software that runs a school. A school without tools, geometry set, rulers, blackboard, you can't have quality education. Number two, quality education comes from quality environment. A quality environment is ata sanitation. Cho, za kutosha, na zikuwe clean. I saw a school in Kisumu where children line for 1 hour, to one toilet. Watoto ni wengi wa chabu. 1 hour kama wame line up, wamepigwa laini, wanangoja kuingia hiyo choo moja. That kind of environment cannot produce quality education. There's no quality education. Quality education comes with an environment, goes with it, a good environment. Finland, if you look at schools in Finland, which are the best system in this world, the schools, my friend, even the system, the way the schools are set, the machines, the tools are good. And then number 3 that brings quality education, Bitok, is quality teachers. Well-paid, quality trained teachers. Mwalimu kama alipu vizuri, mshahara inachelewa, sosiona ameingia siasa, atuoli analia huko shenzi, hakuna mtu anatetea mwalimu. That teacher is not a quality teacher, he's a frustrated teacher. Anaenda shule kama analalamika, analialia, anashangaa atanunua mask, atanunua chakula, atalipa boda. Such a teacher is not good even for your child. Mwalimu huyo mtoto wako hawezi soma vizuri. That's why mwalimu mtoto anatoka huko anaongea accent nyingine, ukimsikiza unashangaa huyu ni mtoto wako. Because mwalimu hataki anafundisha kwa Kiluya. Unapata tu Mluya kama mimi nasema tu mwana yolo kusiru sana shingamao. Sasa
Unaambia mtoto 1 + 1 anasema ni 11.
Hasa mtoto anarudi kwa nyumba jioni pia anaongea kisa kama hii yangu Kiluya kuingwa shingama hao. You wonder which accent, which is this? Because the teacher is frustrated. And that is what is affecting our schools. I've said the orientation of our leaders, the quality tools, quality environment, quality teachers are lacking. And finally, funding. Before we start addressing the funding of public education in this country, hakuna mahali tunaenda. Wacha na hivi vipindire ya Magoha na my friend Belio Kipsang hii ya kuita press kusema tumerelease pesa. There's no money. Hizi shule hazina pesa. I'm telling you, I am a BOM chairman. Hakuna pesa kwa mashule nchini Kenya. These schools, Alliance High School, I was talking to one of the people there, I will not mention him because of his job. Alikuwa ananiambia, this is not the Alliance you knew, Amunga. Hapa hatuna hata choo. Hatuna nini, hatuna chalk. Hapa watoto unless wazazi wajipange, watutumie, watunulie na hii kitu ama alumni wala alisoma Alliance High kitambo. Wafanya harambee watunulie choka. Hatunanga choka. So these are the things, Lucia, you read about on social media. Kina Magoha anasema we have released ratio of books 1:1. Alafu unapata wameleta vitabu ya maths because supply ni rafiki yao. So they have gone to the guy who supplies math books. Wamenunua excess. Na kitabu ya French, my wife teaches French, hakuna. Kitabu ya Kiswahili, hakuna. Ya music, hakuna. Ya agriculture. Bitok, in a country like Kenya where the system insists on English being a compulsory subject and agriculture being an option, such a country, the education system is a failure.
And yet we're calling ourselves an agricultural nation. Now, I have a question. When the president talks about infrastructure development, it's like, oh, we'll build roads, we are building factories, we are building this. I haven't heard you're building schools. And we get funding from these Scandinavian countries, which have very good education systems.
Yes.
Extremely
Finland,
good.
Sweden.
Yeah, Denmark, my question is, why hasn't anyone ever thought of channeling these funds into ensuring the infrastructure in the education system is well put together? Like the way COVID came and it has exposed the weaknesses in all our systems. If I was in Magoha's place, right now my sole focus will be improving the technological infrastructure, because we've now learned that kids can learn from home. The only thing is just we don't have the infrastructure to support that. My niece was in the country for a while, then she went to the States, and one of the things that shook her is that their children are not given books in school. There's no textbooks. You go to school, you're assigned an iPad, it has all the necessary applications in it, you do your homework from there, your teacher is able to monitor your online activity from it, your parent receives emails, it's real quick, real fast and interactive. So why is it that we are so stuck in 18 sit down and yet we are in 2020? Why is it that our leaders do not think of progressing with the changes that are coming? And you see, education is really important, because one of the things that it took for the Asian tigers to be the Asian tigers, and even the cab economies right now, was a lot of investment in education. And this country have the highest skilled labor force in the entire earth.
Yes.
And Africans are not stupid. They're actually brain draining us, taking the best of us to go and work for them. What is wrong with our system? What is wrong with our leaders? Isn't it time for teachers to just go up in arms? Because Magoha wouldn't be Magoha if there was no teacher.
That's true.
I wouldn't be who I am if there was no teacher. But big up to my teachers, man.
Name one of them. Name one of them.
Madam Okole, and then my high school principal, Miss Judith Ngome, and my foundation teacher, Mrs. Adora. Mrs. Adora gave me the best foundation.
Foundation
ever.
Your nursery?
Yeah, lower primary, class 1 to 3. Yeah, like she gave me the best foundation ever, and she's my friend today.
Yes,
I mean. Isn't it time, for teachers to stop the contempt? Yes. I mean, this is a very dignified profession elsewhere other than Kenya, or maybe just Africa.
In Germany, teachers earn more than the cabinet secretaries. In Finland, the same. In those Scandinavian countries you've talked about.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm fine.
Who am I speaking to?
My name is Amunga. I'm from Mulolongo.
Okay, yes, Abednego, tuambie watu Mulolongo.
Yes, I want to say one thing.
Yes.
About the workers. It's true what Amunga is saying.
Yes.
About the representatives, the likes of Atoli and that and so on. Sure. We don't have anybody who is representing us, because those people are the BBI, and we are just doing nothing about it. So, and everybody is singing that song, BBI. So, Amunga, what action are you taking as a former member of NAT? Yeah.
Asante. All right. Amunga, kazi kwako.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What first thing we are doing now is to awaken workers. That's why I appreciate a program like this one at the Tackle. I really appreciate the online platforms that we have, because right now we are awakening workers, and it's mainly teachers. Because as Lucia was just saying a few minutes ago, if teachers can be awakened, if teachers can realize the nobility of their profession, if teachers can appreciate who they are, Lucia, nakwambia ndio Kenya itaomoka. Hiyo jina nimesikia hapa leo.
By the way, Kenya itaomoka.
Hiyo kuomoka tunataka Kenya itaanza na walimu. Because the moment teachers tutaomoka, tutajitokeza, tuongee, to demand our rights, tuongee. Hiyo vipindirea ya politicians na hivi vipindirea kina Sosion na kina Atuoli itaisha. Yeah, because those guys are actually elected to do that job. You see, someone like Tom Mboya, he empowered. You see, he empowered. That's how people like Obama come about. Tom Mboya empowered through his labor union. He empowered other Kenyans. Akapeleka watu paka ngambo kusoma. Tukapata president. Yeah.
Someone said, can you imagine if Tom Mboya hadn't paid for, was it Obama's father or
yes,
whose father,
Obama senior,
to go to the States and would have rather given him mkokoteni on a wheelbarrow to go empower himself. Where United States wouldn't have Obama, I mean.
Yes. Although, I normally say it just depends. Some people need mkokoteni more than even going to the US.
Very true.
Yeah. But anyway, now, so what I was saying, teachers, we are the salt of this country. We are the ones who will have to show this country the way forward. We will have to come out of hiyo vipindirea kina Sosion, as the viewer or the caller has just asked, what is the way forward? Way forward, walimu tuanze tuongee kwa hivi vipindi kama hizi. Tuanze sasa kuongea. Find a voice. There is a lady called the wife to Billy Gates, Melinda Gates. Melinda Gates came to one of our meetings for women teachers, and teachers asked her, what's the secret? What is it that you and your husband have that muna atuna? She told the ladies, women, find a voice. Find your voice. Find your voice. Kama tunataka vitu kutoka kwa hii shida tuko nayo, wacha tu ya walimu, hii ya masomo, hata hii ujinga tuko nayo ingine ya BBI at a time when we have pandemic like this one. Kenyans must find their voice. Ndio Atuoli akiongea vitu zake huko ushenzi, na sisi tunamwambia pia shenzi. Fake wewe, kwenda huko mbali sana. So sio akisema nini tunamwambia fake. That way, hata wao watajua we have a voice. They will respect us, Lucia. But the moment we are quiet and we behave like cows, like that Junet Mohammed, sisi mtu akisema hivi, sisi ni ng'ombe zake tu, sisi tunakuwa tu hivyo, then we will be fake like them. We must change as teachers. We must find our voices. In those schools, we must talk. These people like Anyang' Nyong'o, you see, these guys, when they were there at the university, these guys had voices. These Orengo people, you see, nowadays ni wazee sijui ndio kwa sababu wanakaanga fake.
I wonder what has happened to Jimmy.
Orengo. These were fire brands.
His voice go to?
The voices went. These are fire brands. But you know, as they also get old,
they say it's also Africa. You know, when you are eating in Africa, you have to have double manner. So maybe they are now eating, so they have to be quiet.
Yes.
You cannot speak when you're eating. Yeah. So maybe that's what changed.
Yes. So we must find our voices, and that's why I was very annoyed at the bombers when a few people found voices. Musalia Mudavadi found his voice and spoke. And then I saw people boo him. I felt very bad. Because I heard the deputy president stand up and ask questions. He said, I'm a scientist, you know. And as a scientist, I'm a bit slow to understand a few things. Kindly explain to me. You know, that is the voice we want. We don't want people who just all of us shout the same thing. Mtu akisema, BBI, all of us just shout BBI. We are not cows.
Wanasema BBI, Kenya moja.
That's why we were very happy with the deputy president, William Ruto. And that's why we were very happy with the former vice president, Musalia Mudavadi. When Mudavadi stood up and said, you are talking about sending 30% to counties. Na hiyo pesa inatoka wapi? We as Kenyans tunatoa wapi hiyo pesa? Because even right now as a country, our debt level cannot even allow us. So hii pesa, we must first start talking about how are we baking the cake that we'll send to county governments. Milio Odhiambo Budi man stood and made noise at Musalia and made noise at DP. The people who silence voices of others, the types of Atuoli, Sosioni, Milio Odhiambo, must be condemned and told you are fake.
Lucia,
to drop mic to end home. maneno imekuwa ngumu sana.
Imekuwa ngumu.
Maneno imekuwa ngumu. But I agree with Mr. Amunga over here. I think the one thing that no one can take from you is your voice. Unless you suffer from cancer of the larynx or something.
You can also speak in science.
Yeah, but then you say, what was his name? The scientist who couldn't speak and he had this whole wheelchair, and I forget his name. You see, anything is possible, and no one can take away your voice.
Yes.
And teachers have a very powerful voice. Acha nikuambie. Unajua campaigns zikipangwa wanaambiwanga, bana si uende unitafutie hiyo kura ya walimu.
Yes.
You know, teachers,
they're on the ground, they're like canoe. They're everywhere.
And you see, you made us. You people made us.
Yes, when we talk to you people, you listen to us.
Yes, and that is what you forget, because after we leave the system, you forget that you're still teachers.
Yes.
And when you talk, we'll still listen.
Yes.
And that is what needs to be reminded. I'm so impressed that there's a lot of women in the teaching profession. Power to the girl, man. Power to the girl. Way to go, my people. Way to go.
Gender.
Because you know where a woman is. Unajua mtu alisema jokes kwingine akasema president wetu angekuwa mwanamke sahi angekuwa ametutolea tudoma hali akatuambia shikeni hizi ni za chama nimelipwa. You know, women are strong creatures. Women are organized creatures. You give a woman something, she multiplies it. So the teaching profession is a blessed profession because you have a lot of women in there. Now I need these women to remember who they are, because they're the life givers in this nation. Hallelujah. And stand up to defend the life that they have given. Hallelujah. And the nurture and care that they give to that life. Yes. After giving it life. You know, like you people are demigods, man. Start
Hallelujah.
behaving like it.
Yes.
Kama Sosion is not representing you people, stand up. I'm looking for one dissenting voice that I can speak with. You know,
Yes.
like I want to support teachers, because I wouldn't be who I am without teachers.
Hallelujah.
I'm going to have kids in future. I want them to be taught well, and I need teachers to be there. So I want teachers to stand up, you know, be the strong voice that you're meant to be. You people can find one of your own and just support them and push them into parliament. That's into true. Senate, into true. All these decision-making positions, so that your real interests can be taken care of. And when we say support someone, hatumaanishi Mudzonzili, hatumaanishi Sosion. We are not meaning all these people who are currently... No, we are not meaning any person who's currently in tunamaanisha ule mtu mwenye nyinyi kama walimu kwa ground mmemchagua kama treasurer wa chama yenu. That is the person we want you to support. Put them in politics so that they can go and take care of your interests, because when ni safara mwenzako, they know where the shoe pinches. They are better placed to address that issue. They are better placed to address policies that are going to advance the welfare of teachers and students and improve the education system at large in this country. So it's important for you guys to bond together. Support your own. Support your own and push them and hold them accountable. Even if it means fundraising for their campaign, you do so, because that is one of you. You need to have one of you in there. Make sure there's one of you in there, and make sure it's a person of integrity. And hold them to accountable each and every day that they're there, because they're meant to serve you.
Hallelujah.
And do not back down.
Kidogo imebaki tuongee in thanks, lakini kwako ni makofi tu tutakupea. Hapo walimu wamesikia mambo ambayo mpaka akajangamaza kusema tu yes sir. Oh, they talk about fundraising. There is an issue that's been going. I saw a letter yesterday by Philomena Emutheu. You saw that?
I saw it.
Let me just read it. About Philomena Emutheu, St. Mary's School, Kitangani, Pia Box, Nana Machako, 6 November 2020. His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta, Arambe House. Amesema, dear Your Excellency, request for support to complete my secondary education. Receive my warm greetings, my beloved President. It is with great... I don't think it should be beloved. If someone is not giving you free education, they promise. Surely. Why should I call you beloved? I should go be hated. I don't know. I could be wrong. But anyway, you promised me free education. Why should I call you beloved? Anyway. That is what I've written. Receive my greetings from my beloved President. It is with great pleasure to write to you. It's not with great pleasure. You're at home. Great pleasure to write to you with I hope that it finds you well. My name is Philomena Mutheu, 17 years. I'm a Form 4 candidate at St. Mary's School, Kidhangaini. I'm a total orphan going through a lot of unbearable challenges. I'm not in school. I was sent home a week ago due to unpaid school fees and other basic needs. I'm always top 10 in class. I have nobody to assist me. This has led to a lot of stress and depression. I aspire to be a teacher, but I have lost hope in life. I need a lot of guidance and counseling to gain strength. May the Almighty God continue giving you wisdom and strength to lead us. I look forward to hearing from you. Yours, Philomena Mudeu. I hope she has heard from the president. But the question is, my question is,
that's the question.
a government that has promised free education, and actually free education in the Constitution is part of the right. Access
right in the Constitution.
And education.
It's a basic right.
The other day when you're opening schools, the parents were saying, okay, how are you going to pay school fees? They said, no child is going to be sent out of school for school fees. This child is at home today. She is an orphan.
Yes, that is what we talk. I keep saying fake. Fake. Ministry of Education is the center, is the epicenter of fake news. This letter, we saw it last evening, and I made sure it's some buzzword on all our platforms. We made sure we shared with Magoha. I have his number. Magoha, I have your number. And I sent you last night. I saw the blue ticks, Uliona. I sent this letter to anybody, even in Machakos. I'm told by the Alfred Mutua has taken up the matter, the governor. Somebody told me he has decided to pay. And the other people, many other Kenyans. And that's why, that's the word you were saying a few minutes ago, finding a voice. This girl found her voice. Her parent and other people, even her teachers, wamenyamaza tu. Wanasikia tu Magoha akiwadanganya. Oh, go to school, free education, nobody will be sent home. You know, it is fake. But this girl has exposed the underbelly. This letter is going to remain in our archives as teachers. And when she says that I wanted to be a teacher, mimi karibu nilie. Nasema angalia msichana huyu anataka kuwa kama mimi. Alafu
wanasemaga, should we tell her or should keep quiet?
No, that is the other thing I would also like to address. Why is it that when someone says, I want to be a teacher, they're ridiculed as if it's a bad thing? And we've reserved the teaching profession to people who have failed to get into any other profession. And now we are like, oh, okay, maybe you can be a teacher. Maybe you can be a nurse.
It was different back then.
Maybe
I remember
a
teacher used to come with a lot of pride.
Yeah.
You know, ukisikia tu ni mtoto wa mwalimu, ni mwalimu wa teacher.
And then
Wewe ulikuwa dynasty. You got it. But over time we have eroded because we've continued, we stopped investing in education. We've stopped investing in education. We stopped investing in our teachers.
We commoditized
so it has gone to a
education.
point whereby we've taken the decorum and the respect away from the teaching fraternity.
That's it.
You know, because you'd ask yourself, why should I be a teacher going to struggle 11,000 shillings? You have to struggle every day solidarity forever. You know, it's not one of those things. The other time, what do you want to be in the future? I want to be a teacher with a lot of pride. Because it came with pride. And today, does it? It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Not unless you are a Rakatia.
Yeah, and you see, that is the thing, Gerald. When I was talking to someone who comes from the other side of town, wale watu waliomoka, sijui ama ni kuzaliwa kwa pesa, walizaliwa kwa pesa, and she said, I'd really want my child to go to a public school so that they can interact with people from all over, wakwe na hiyo the social capacity to handle society. But then the problem is that the teachers in public schools are picked from the bottom of
the academic ladder.
How do you expect a lesser mind to teach my kid who I believe is a higher mind? You know, it doesn't make sense. I'm not saying this because I have any contempt for the teachers. I actually think it is wrong to start looking at our teachers like that, because our 844 system is what they were based on. It's like judging the fish's ability to climb a tree. It's gonna fail. But when someone has a passion for teaching, I have a cousin who's a teacher, and he speaks perfect Swahili, and that boy has a passion for teaching. When you see him with a student, you're like, oh my God, you found your calling.
That's
you see, and it doesn't matter what grade he got in school, because he's passionate about it, so he does it to his level best, and I'm sure his students love him. But then you see, when you are forced into that profession, like umeanguka mtihani, ni walimu tu ndio utaweza. What is it that we are trying to tell our children?
But really? Philomena, this girl who wrote, once at her tender age, she wants to be a teacher.
You see, now that's a calling.
That's a
But
calling
someone
now.
will dissuade her right now. They'll
Yes, somebody
ridicule
start
her.
telling her, oh, walimu tu mshahara, even an intern teacher tunawalipa siku hizi 5k. Unajua house girl wangu hapo Imara Daima bwana. Alinitupia hiyo pesa, nilimpatia 8,000 akaniambia wewe kumbafu sana.
Akamwambia fake.
Fake. Ati mtu unaonekana kwa TV you pay me 8,000. Kwenda mbali. She threw that money back to me. I started paying her 12k. Now, but in the school where I'm the BOM chair, I am paying teachers, Lucia. I am paying teachers 5k. Even there's a girl who came, she wanted to nini, I'm giving her 4k. Government is paying BOM teachers, wale siju BOM. Ule akona degree 10k. Ule wa primary 7k. Na tax, sasa piga tax. Piga ile vitu ya gava ile. Because salary ya gava wezi pewa bila hiyo vitu. So, shida si, Lucia, this teaching is a calling.
Yeah.
But our leadership has watered down. When Moi was the teacher, the president and a teacher, we were respect. That's why you are saying teachers were respect.
Yes.
Tulikuwa dynasty.
Yeah.
Moi wetu alikuwa preso. Julius Nyerere alikuwa preso na alikuwa mwalimu. Sasa tulikuwa
Sasa
ma
hizo
dynasty.
ma president wenu ni broker.
Sasa hii jamaa wacha tu.
Lucia, you tackle of the day.
Which one should I start with? I want to ask Mr. Francis Atwoli a question. He has this expensive watch. He can afford to throw a brand new iPhone. He has this car, this wonderful car that changes color. But then when, Mr. Atwoli, are you going to advocate for the workers so that pia waomoke wafike yo level umefika? Ni swali tu. You're friends with him. Please ask him this for me. I really need an answer. What is he doing, or when is he going to do something to ensure that the workers he actually represents also get to the level where he is at? Ama ametaka tu kujiekea yeye mwenyewe?
Aliniajibu. BBI itasaidia hiyo maneno Amunga. BBI.
Mr. Atwoli, that is a lie. Anyway, Cabinet Secretary Education, Mr. Magoha, you and all your education and all your exposure and experience and everything, for one thing you lack, it's humility. And until you learn to be humble, I don't think the Ministry of Education is your docket. And as a Minister of Education right now, one of your top priorities should be to give teachers a dignified life. If you're not giving teachers a dignified life, I don't know how you expect them to be able to teach our children. Your children might be old, but I'm yet to have children, and I want my children to go to public schools, and I want them to have the kind of experience I had, and I want them to learn, and I want them to be proud of the schooling system in this country. So it is my duty as a citizen to call you to be accountable. Be accountable to your duties. You said you only answer to the president, but no, Mr. Magoha, you should be answerable to the parents in this country, because they pay your salary. They are your bosses. It is not the president who gives tax to pay your salary. So man, take several seats, be humble, and sort out teachers' issues. Otherwise, just resign and go home, because actually there's nothing good you're doing.
Hiya, mic drop.
Takla.
Amunga. First of all, I want you to speak to three people.
Yeah.
Tutaanza na Wakenya. Ya pili ni walimu.
Yes.
Watu wako walimu. Walimu wako.
Yes,
alafu wa mwisho ni serikali.
Kabisa.
Haya, anzeko sasa.
Asante Engo. I want to really appreciate first of all this program, and you guys you are doing well. And I really want to appreciate everybody who has tuned in. I shared on all the walls the teachers forums, and I can see many teachers actually have tuned in from the comments I'm seeing.
Na wambia wasiende tena wabaki hapo.
Yes. Now, yes, the minister and the ministry, I want to address you and say you have to stop issuing fake news. You must stop. The Ministry of Education cannot continue being a source of fake news to Kenyans. Fake news must end. Stop living a lie. Magoha Belio Kipsang, and all the people who work at the ministry, stop living a lie. Stop trying to impress the president, or stop trying to catch the eye of the president to make him, maybe promote you or give you some little political favors or extend your term as a minister. Tell him the truth of the things on the ground. Tell him 15 desks cannot fit Olympic Primary School. Tell him you cannot build a classroom in 3 months. Tell the president that let your speech writers do some research before they write that speech and give you to read. Magoha, stop living a lie. I want to challenge you, being a surgeon and a person who has worked with medicine. You obviously know what it means to say the truth. You know what it means to say the truth to the patient. The education system sector is a patient. It's in ICU, it's in HDU, and it needs a person who can resuscitate it. It needs a minister, a person who can advise the president accordingly, not a person who is out to seek for some political favors from the president. Magoha, you have failed. Your ministry has failed, and your people continue to issue fake news that is not helping Kenyans. Number 2, I've been told to talk to my colleagues, fellow teachers. Teachers, walimu, solidarity. Solidarity again, sema power. Solidarity, sema power. Money. Sema money. Solidarity, money. Solidarity, power. Walimu wenzangu, as Lucia, Lucia is our student. Hawa watu ni wanafunzi wetu tu hawa. Hawa wanafunzi wetu, they listen to us. They respect us. I normally see when I meet this Willis Raburu, watu na vipindire yake, yes, you 10 over 10 anarukaruka. But akikutana na mimi anajikunja. Au unaweza fikiria hata huyu anakumbuka ile viboko nilimchapa hapo chini.
Anajua unaweza mnyoa rasta.
Hiyo ni rasta nitamunyoa. Nitakunyoa.
Unaweza punguza utoto wake itoshe kwa screen.
So what I want to say is these Kenyans really respect us. Hata kama it is us walimu tunajidharau. Sasa tunaona kamshahara ketu kako kadogo, alafu tunaona wako na magari kubwa na sisi hatuna. Unaona umejenga nyumba kubwa na sisi hatujajenga. Then we start looking down on ourselves as teachers. This girl, let me call her girl, this student of mine, Lucia, has challenged us to come out and find our voice. Walimu lazima tuomoke. Umesikia hawa vijana wanatumia neno omoka. Walimu, wherever you are, in the staff rooms, wherever you are this morning, rise up. Rise up, walimu. And rising up doesn't mean ati tuende tutupe mawe kwa ofisi ya Magoha huko ama tutupie Uhuru mawe. What we are going to do by rising up is we are going to find our voice. Unaona Lucia and Bitok and others, I discovered teachers have not coming out too strongly to say that COVID is affecting them. Walimu wanajificha, they are hiding their status. Unlike doctors, doctors are LUCIA, you saw they are saying, when a doctor falls sick, they say, doctor is sick. Walimu tunaficha. Walimu, why are you hiding things about yourself? Simuseme ukweli. Kama huyu mtoto Philomena ameandika barua kwa, simuandike mabarua, simuandike petitions, simuambie president that whatever you are saying out there in Nairobi kwa parliament is not on the ground. Teachers, we are the people to say it. We are the ones to tell Kenyans the truth, that things are not working in our schools. The calendar cannot work. All these things cannot happen unless the president and his people come back to the drawing table and sit and plan for this country. So walimu, we are the people to find the voice and speak. Number 3, I was told to talk to, alisema serikali. Serikali saidia. Serikali tafadhali saidia. Saidia sisi. Saidia wa Kenya tafadhali serikali. Kana serikali saidia tafadhali. Because a government is a big thing. The president, was it Roosevelt, who said the government of the people, by the people, I don't know.
For the people.
Yes, all those things for the people. If you look at our constitution, which I've seen Bitok has put right in front
of me.
It's
very new.
It's a very new one. As you nani amempatia hii.
Judiciary, ilitoka judiciary. That's only original.
It looks original actually. The first statement in it, sijafika mahali
we the people.
Inasema we the people. Sisi. Yani serikali ni people. Hii serikali tukitaka kuiunda ni sisi wananchi. And sisi wananchi ndio tumeweka nyinyi hapo kwa serikali. Bila sisi hamwezi kuwa serikali. Hizi machopa mnarukaruka nazo, hizi vitu vipindere mnatufanyia, hizi vile mnatuonyesha madharau. Sisi tuliwaweka hapo kama serikali. We want to see services to the people's government. People want services. People want to see the services, and the best place to start with for services are only 2 places: healthcare and education. Hapo mkifaulu, mumefaulu. Tutaona hata legacy ya Bwana Uhuru Kenyatta. But if those things don't come out, if we don't see education come out, we see doctors want to strike and I don't know what's happening, then serikali hamjatusaidia. Serikali saidia wa Kenya.
Buda mtakuwa fake.
Otherwise you are fake.
Asante sana. Thank you guys who have been watching us. We really appreciate it. Amunga, thank you for coming into the tackle. I didn't know you were such a good tackler, but I'm happy to have you here. I hope to have you again. We can have these conversations more. And again. I want to create a family of Eklas so that we can have these conversations and build a better nation. Nations have been changed by conversations. You know, America was changed by conversations. There was no revolt in terms of there's no blood. Conversations, kina Martin Luther King, kina Karl Marx, you know, Malcolm X, people spoke about the issues that are happening in the country. We need to build a family as well and have these conversations and continue echoing and making noise and all that. The guys who have been watching us, it's always a pleasure to have you. Tunawapenda sana zaidi. Tunawapenda sana and we hope to see you again. Tafadhali keep sharing our broadcast. Na wale walimu ambao mmeletwa leo na Amunga, tafadhali msiendeko tena. Kama Amunga amesema kujeni tackle, nisione tena kesho ati Amuko. I want to see the same teachers who have been coming in today. When we build a bigger family, please keep sharing our broadcast. We love you guys. We really love you. Watu naona jamaa yangu hapa from Germany na Joyce anasema walimu, you shall know the truth and you shall be free. Amunga anasema atakla, enjoy the show. Thank you so much Daisy na kila mtu ambaye ameweza kuja. Everybody who has been tuned in this morning, kina Ian Rono, thank you so much guys for joining our broadcast. Na nimeona madam wa Amunga alikuwa hapa amesema mimi ndio madam. Amesema mimi ndio madam, amekuja akachora kalaini akasema mimi ndio madam. Thank you so much for keeping this guy. This gentleman is a great one. Let's keep preserving him for our better generations. These guys, this is a tackle. And the tackle ends now. You have to see you again tomorrow. Bye bye.